Let's back up a little bit. The man that you see on your screen is no other than Jamie Salazar. Tonight, we're going to tell his story on Making a Musician 101. On a self-described rainy day in September of 1983, Jamie Salazar was born in Redlands, California. In itself, a small town outside of San Bernardino with a population of approximately 72,000 residents. Jamie was born from his earliest recollection to a mother who was attending cosmetology school and has one brother that is 10 years older than him. From an early age, Jamie had already seen that money was tight and his mom did anything possible that a single mother could do to support the family. Jamie had stated that he never asked for money because he knew what the answer would always be. His relationship with his father, like many others, is non-existent. His parents had split up when he was still just a little baby. As for his relationship with his mother, Jamie says that it was unhealthy and toxic, but they have managed to build a healthy relationship within the last few years. For these reasons, his relationship with his brother was the most important that he had as a child. Jamie recalls that he was the subject of abuse from an early age up until he was about 8 years old. His mother did not have the best choices in partners, and subsequently, he and his brother would tend to roam the streets at night looking for a place to hide. And although a street or an alley seemed scary, it was better than returning home to an abusive stepdad or boyfriend. Jamie had started to find solace in his mind from an early age, and he recalls making up his own songs and melodies in his head that he would hum to himself. He says that they were always just there and doesn't really recall a time when he didn't hear them. Jamie's first encounter for the love of music was when he was trick-or-treating and someone in the neighborhood was blasting Head Like a Hole by 9 Inch Nails. Jamie recalls that it totally rocked and quote-unquote blew his little socks off. In his early years, Jamie really wanted to be a fighter pilot, recalling a fascination with planes and flying, but at 10 years old, he sat nearly glued to the TV watching MTV music videos. Jamie recalls a favorite moment of his during the 1994 Video Music Awards when Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan broke a string about a minute into the performance of Disarm and still pulled the song off. At this point, Jamie says he just wasn't the same person anymore. He forgot about flying and knew at that point that he wanted to be a musician and was completely reborn. Stating that in his early adolescent years, some of his favorite groups of bands included 9 Inch Nails, Dr. Dre, Bob Dylan, The Cure, Prince, Depeche Mode, amongst others, but Jamie wanted to find his own style. In trying to find himself, Jamie was not let down at all. As stated, there's a silver lining in everything in which to say, until next time. And with this message, hope is a major inspirational factor in Jamie's music, as is a feeling of wonder that you get as a child. Something that is difficult to verbalize and you just must feel. Stating also that he never really seeks out to make a song, the song finds him. Touching on regrets, Jamie says that there aren't too many of those in his life. He says that more so, he looks for the lesson that was learned during each portion of his life. It made him the man that he is today. And for that, we are grateful. So with that story, guys, I just kind of wanted to touch on two quotes here that Jamie had made himself, right? Well, I mean, he made all these himself. I just basically turned it into a little story, but two of these that are kind of worth kind of reading out loud from from the horse's mouth, as it were, would be I have a large questionnaire here, and question or description number 20 happens to be what motivates you to write what you write in the style that you write it. Okay, to which Jamie had responded, my style is actually the last thing on my mind. When I am writing, it's not something I consciously integrate or even really think about. Bruce Lee was right when he talked about reaching a level of maturity in your art when it no longer has a style and it becomes formless. When I pick up a guitar and play, I don't think this sounds country or this sounds folk or this sounds new wave. It's experiencing this flow and opening myself up to the creative process that motivates me. I also love when I find a new band with new sounds, structures, or ideas. This makes me feel very excited about the future, like a painter with new colors on a palette. Very well said. Number 27 on the suggestions kind of thing was closing thoughts, words of inspiration. Genres and styles of music are a way to define what we sound like. Similarities of things we may have heard from the past all put together and make something new and exciting. So I understand the need to define and classify, but no one can ever define you and what makes you special and unique. It's best to use your story in a way that bridges gaps to help you understand yourself, and in doing so, the likelihood that you can help others increases. By not allowing your past to define you and using it as an inspiration for your creative process, you are participating in an act of righteous rebellion. You can take the hardships and trials that you have experienced and see that you have been refined in the fires of affliction. Every voice is needed in the great choir of humanity. Your voice in your art needs to be heard. So what are you waiting for? I totally agree with Jamie on that one. And with all that being said, this has been Making a Musician 101. First topic, Jamie Salazar and his transformation into WithNme. The video that you had seen in the beginning, the full version of it is coming up next. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Show Jamie some love. If you like this video, let us know. And if you're a musician, we definitely want to hear and make a story about you. We'd love to have you on Making a Musician 101 for the Underground Sound. I am DJ X Tech. Take care.